It was a dark, stormy night. I glanced over at my alarm clock. The glowing red numbers showed it was 3:56 a.m. I was having trouble sleeping with the wind howling outside my bedroom window. I rolled over, trying to get comfortable. Then I heard a strange noise coming from somewhere inside the house. It sounded like a knocking sound. I sat up in bed, listening closely. There it was again, a slow, repeated knocking. It seemed to be coming from downstairs. I felt nervous. I lived alone and I knew I had locked all the doors before going to bed. There was no way anyone could have gotten inside, but there was definitely a knocking sound echoing up the stairs. I slowly climbed out of bed. I considered calling the police, but what if it was just the wind or the house settling? I didn't want to seem silly. I grabbed the baseball bat that I kept by my bed just in case. I decided to go check out the noise myself before calling anyone. Gripping the bat tightly, I crept towards the bedroom door. When I opened my bedroom door, the knocking stopped. Now there was only silence as I crept out onto the dark landing. All the lights were out except for the dim glow of a nightlight plugged into the wall near the top of the stairs. Heart racing. I started down the steps one at a time. The old wooden stairs creaked under my feet despite trying to step lightly. As I reached the bottom of the staircase, I strained my ears listening for where the sound had come from. The house seemed still and quiet now except for the storm raging outside. Suddenly, a bright flash of lightning illuminated the house, followed by a tremendous boom of thunder. I nearly dropped my bat as I jumped in fright. In the split-second flash from the lightning, I noticed something odd. Our antique grandfather clock that stood by the front door seemed to be illuminated from inside, as if someone had turned on a light bulb within the old clock. As darkness returned, I stared puzzled at the clock. How bizarre. The clock had not worked for years as far as I knew. Suddenly, the clock began to chime. I counted each resonate chime. 1, 2, 3. Halfway through the chimes, it struck me as very strange. Why would a broken clock suddenly stop working at nearly 4 a.m. in the morning during the middle of a thunderstorm? I felt the hairs rising on the back of my neck as I sensed danger nearing. The clock finished its chimes. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 12 loud chimes that seemed to vibrate through my bones. Then, the clock made a strange sputtering clicking sound. I stirred in shocked horror as the clock face popped open with a creak. 2 glowing eyes peered out from inside the dark clock. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. I stood paralyzed by fear as first one leg, then another emerged from inside the clock. The creature pulled itself out of the narrow opening, tearing at the wood surround as it dragged the rest of its body from the shattered clock. It turned to face me, eyes flashing red. The creature was about 4 feet tall, with a slimy gray body and long, spindly limbs. It grinned at me, revealing a row of sharp, jagged teeth in its mouth. I gripped my bat tightly, looking around wildly for an escape, but the creature was blocking the hallway to the front door. I glanced over my shoulder towards the kitchen. Could I make it to the back door in time? Just then, a bright flash illuminated the entire hallway, followed by another deafening crack of thunder. Heavy rain was now pounding the roof as the storm intensified outside. As the creature took a step towards me, I suddenly noticed the clock behind it. 3:56 had turned to 3:57. Somehow I knew in my gut that nothing good ever happened after 3:57 a.m. when evil was free to roam the night. The creature snarled, stretching out long bony claws from its hands. Without thinking, I turned and bolted for the kitchen, running faster than ever in my life. Behind me, I heard a shriek of rage. Heavy footsteps pounded after me. I burst through the kitchen door, flicked on the light switch as I passed, and grabbed for the door handle with slippery, shaking hands. Just as I wrenched open the back door, I felt sharp nails rake down my back. I screamed in pain but leaped outside into the pouring rain, slamming the door shut behind me. Through the glass, I saw the creature snarl in frustration as its prey escaped. It pounded angrily on the door before turning and slithering away out of sight down the hall. I stumbled out into the storm, clutching my torn shirt to my back as blood trickled down from the creature's scratches. There was an old shed in the backyard where I could hide while I figured out what to do next. As I dashed through the downpour towards the shed, I again recalled my mother's ominous warning from when I was young. Nothing good happens after 3:57 a.m. I scrambled into the old shed for shelter from the storm, collapsing to the dirt floor. My heart pounded wildly in my chest as my breath came in ragged gasps. I tried to calm my raging panic and think clearly. The creature had disappeared down the hallway, perhaps returning to its lair within the clock where it had lurked unseen for years, emerging only late at night. I knew I couldn't stay trapped in this shed till daylight. I had to call for help. Suddenly, I remembered my cell phone sitting on my nightstand by the bed upstairs. But how could I make it back to my bedroom without that monster ripping me apart? I would have to sneak in through one of the second floor windows. I crept to the shed window and peered out cautiously. Seeing no sign of the creature, I steeled my nerves and decided to make a break for the drainage pipe I knew ran up the back of the house to the roof. I took a deep breath and went back out into the rainy storm. I grabbed the wet pipe, struggling not to slip as I climbed up the side of the house. My feet scraped against the brick walls as I climbed higher. Finally, I reached the roof and pulled myself up. On the roof, the storm raged around me, but at least I was safe from the monster below. I crawled over slippery shingles to my bedroom window. I saw my glowing phone on the nightstand inside, but the window was locked tight. I felt hopeless. Would I be trapped outside until the creature smelled me and came looking? Suddenly, I saw movement in my bedroom. The spidery creature slid out from under the bed. Its red eyes surged greedily as it crawled onto my bed, ripping the blankets as it searched for me. I froze, terrified, as it invaded my room. But then my phone rang, the vibrations catching the monster's attention. It turned and saw me crouched outside the window. It snarled angrily, spying its escaped victim. The monster raced toward the window. Just then, I lost my balance, my feet slipping on the wet roof. I slid down, grasping for anything to stop my fall. My nails scraped across shingles as I felt myself slide over the edge. The last thing I saw was the creature grinning wickedly through the glass as it watched me plummet into the darkness below. The clock hit 4 a.m., the witching hour ending as I fell to my doom.